Hey, what's up, guys? Today I want to talk to you about what you guys like in a game. In a game like Legend Bowl, what do you think are the top things that the game needs to have? And I know gameplay is super important and we're working hard on gameplay, but what are some of the things that you guys like and what are you thinking you want to see in the game? Like what are your main points that you think are going to make the game successful or they're going to make you want to play the game? We have a Discord channel. We have a community that's growing out there, and we would love to get your guys' feedback to find out what you think are important things with the game. We've worked on gameplay. We have some work left to do with the gameplay before release, but it's working. It's a football game. It's right there behind me. You can see it there. And the game can play football, but there are still things in the game that need to happen in order to make the game, make the game fun, right? And one of those things is like controls and making sure that the players react, quickly and making sure your frame rate is high enough. And, there are things that are just very fundamental that are going to give you, in my experience, a better experience playing the game, right? So you want controls that are responsive. You want to be able to push the jump button and see the player jump. And working with sprites the way we're working with them, it's not always that simple to do. But, it's, and frame rates too. Like you want the game to be fast. So you want to make sure that whatever controls you're pressing are actually is what you're seeing on the screen, right? You don't want to just push a button and make it take 3 minutes for the guy to dive, right? Those things won't work. And so I think that controls and responsiveness are really, really, really high on my list. You also want to have somebody score a touchdown. Oh, first down. You want to have things that showcase the mechanics, right? And you want to have good mechanics. And with a football game, there are things you can do, but everything that you do takes so much time to test and balance and get right. And right now, one of the things that I think we really need to do in the game is like special moves, right? So when you're running with the ball and a tackler's coming after you, there's a hurdle animation in the game where you can hurdle, you can do a stiff arm, you can dive. I have like a turbo boost type of skill that you could unlock, or some like boost that you can gain somehow that will just turbo you past someone. We're looking for other ideas on what else we can do. I have some ideas, but if you guys have any ideas on what we could do, because there's that whole tackling versus dodging a tackle scenario, right? And if you have a defender coming after you and they want to tackle you and you're the ball carrier, well, how do you get around them? Right? I've thought about having a spin move. I wanted to have a spin move in the game, but then getting the art and getting all the different customizations we have to work with that spin move and look the right way, it didn't really turn out the best. I also have a juke move, and right now we don't have that in the game, but it's there. I think I'm like halfway done with the, I think I've done some customizations on it, because one of the things, I'll rewind a little bit, one of the things that we have to do in Legend Bowl, because we have such a thorough, deep customization system where you can customize anything on your player practically, right? And make them look and dress and their hair color and their facial hair and all their different attributes can be different for everybody in the game. And because of that, every time I make a new animation, well, all of those pieces and parts, your eyeballs, your eyebrows, your helmet, all those pieces are interchangeable and they're all separate and they're all layered. And so every time I make a new animation or a new sprite, or my artist makes a new sprite, I have to take that sprite and cut it all up. And that takes a long, long time. So we're limited with what we can do from a time perspective because of that customization choice that we made. And some people might say, hey, was the customization worth it? I feel like it was worth it. I know we wanted to really have it in the game. I wanted to really have it in the game. I always say we, by the way, because I'm working on the game. I have an artist who helps out with the game and does all the art for the game. I have a musician that's on board right now doing some music for the game. I have community members that are helping out here and there. So I feel like we're a team, and I say we a lot. So that's why I say it, but it always feels weird to say it. But I really wanted customization in the game, right? I wanted to have the game be very deep. I didn't want just helmets running around. I wanted you to be able to get a, personal connection with your quarterback or your running back. I wanted it all to feel very intimate, right? And so I added the customization in the game. That choice to make the customization has added a lot of work in different areas. And it's also added some roadblocks, these are one of the things that are harder to pull off, right? So going back to the moves, we have stiff arm, we have dive, we have hurdling, we have a turbo. If you guys can think of anything that you might want, we just have a tackling animation right now. We have like a shoulder hit tackle and a dive tackle. And then you can obviously run into the person, you can jump. But when going back to what I was saying, when a tackler is running towards the ball carrier, there needs to be some kind of strategy in that and how you get around them, right? And what I'm planning on doing is with the stiff arm, I have it in the game, but I have to tune it, is when you push stiff arm, depending on the guy's attributes and depending on the tackler's attributes, there's going to be a dice roll. That's what has to happen. And there's more weight put on better players to get their dice to fall where they win. And if you push the stiff arm, then you have a chance of dodging that tackle, right? And the way I was doing it up to now when I added the stiff arm was I wanted to time it to where, like, if you push it at the perfect time, but it just doesn't work right. And that's one of those things with game design and game development, that you have a mindset on what you want it to do. And I want timing, I want simulation, I want you, the player, to get rewarded for what you do. But sometimes it just doesn't feel as good. And I think that if I have it to where, in this case, it kind of relies on the skill of the player, the actual ball carrier and the tackler, added with the fact that you have to push the button. Obviously, you got to push stiff arm. Well, if I push stiff arm, I'm not going to rely as heavily on timing of the stiff arm as I think I am. There's still going to be timing. You can't just push it 5 minutes before and then get the stiff arm. I mean, that's obvious, but precise timing versus rough timing, very general, casual timing, where you push the button to stiff arm, and then you have a dice roll that says, okay, you have better attributes, plus you have a random dice roll and you win, and I'm going to dodge this guy. So I'm going to add that into the game. I have the animations in there, even with a hurdle. When you hurdle, if you hurdle at the right time and the guy's diving at you, then you're probably going to jump over him. You're probably going to get a dice roll and jump over him. And so things like that need to be added to the game, because that's kind of what's missing. Another part that's missing too is the offensive line. I've worked heavily on the offensive line and the defense. And at one point, like, the offense was way too easy. And then it got to a point where it's like, well, okay, hold on, let's work on the defense. Now the defense is kind of overpowering. And then I had to balance that out a little bit. But the amount of time you get to throw the ball is like split seconds. And it's like the guys just break through the line like it's nothing. So I have to tune that and make sure that the offensive line and defensive line interactions are balanced, right? And then I also want to do a new mechanic that if you're the defender and you're on the line and you're trying to break a tackle, you smash the A button and it will, you have to work your way to get out of that tackle. I saw it in another game and I'm going to take it. So I'm going to borrow that inspiration because I'm going to do something that's very similar to help with that animation. But the other thing is like throwing accuracy, right? I've been playing around with throwing accuracy and to make the offense less or more challenging, right? And so I did it to where I put, just for testing, I put it where you're very inaccurate. And now it's cool to see, like, you throw the ball and it won't always go in the player's hands, right? It'll go 10 yards right, 10 yards left, high over their head. And I'm adding that in. But there's a tuning part of it that has to take place to take all of these things where you're making it easier or harder and more challenging, less challenging, add strategy to it. You got to take all those pieces and find a happy, circle of balance where everything kind of works together and nothing's too overpowered. And I also want to give some value in your players. Like if you've recruited and you've built a good, solid team and you've managed your funds well and you've gotten lucky with some players and you've done some recruiting and, you got some 3-star players or whatever we end up having in the game. And that person just luckily rolls out to be an all-star, right? Somebody like a Russell Wilson, right? Or these guys out there that are just no-name draft picks that become superstars. I mean, out there that we have, those players are going to be available and they might just magically be a great roster pick. Look at, Tom Brady, right? So a player like that nobody really thought was going to be good, you need to be rewarded for that. So if the player is good and they've built their skills, you should get a reward. It should be a little bit easier to play well with that player. So those are the kind of things that we're working on that will be the next phase. Once we're done with the first cut of the career mode, then it's going to be get back on the field, get the beta testers to look at the gameplay, start to tweak the gameplay and get some updates going to the beta testers and try to get the gameplay to be the best it could be. So I've been going on for a little while now. I don't know how long it's been, but if you're still around, thanks for watching. I'm going to be doing these videos constantly, so keep an eye out. I'll keep up as much as I can. But I want to get the information to you guys. I want to get you guys involved. And I want to, any support you guys can give, tweet this thing out. Hit that like button. Whatever you can do, do it. And this game's going to be successful if we all get there together. All right. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.